Hello, this is Eric of Dpi, and today I'm reviewing the Logitech G303 Shroud Edition. One of the reasons I got this mouse is because it's a decent mouse for battery life, and that's kind of important to me, especially as a content creator. Right now it's charging, but we're going to be having a showdown for content creators, which mouse is best. It's the lightest is the best, because that's not always true, especially if you're a content creator. What matters too as well is battery life. So we have the Shroud Edition. We also have the Logitech MX3. We have the Razer Death Adder V2 Mini. We also have the Logitech 502. I also have the wireless, and this is the wired you see here. And we also have my favorite mouse, at least favorite at this time overall, for content creation and playing games, and that is this one here, the Razer Ballast Ultimate. This has been my favorite mouse for certain reasons, but we'll go over that in what's the best gaming mouse out there for content creators. And coming soon is a super new gaming mouse that you may not have heard of, and well, we have that coming, and super long battery life while being a gaming mouse. And hot off the press is this new Huawei gaming mouse. We'll be adding this to the roundup, and watch for a review of this gaming mouse in about 2 days time. So here we have the mouse in the package, and here we have the clicking. The clicking is not overly aggressive, which I like. Let me take, say, the Logitech Master MX3. Listen to this. I find that very irritating compared to a lot nicer clicking. So that's a bonus right there, but we haven't tested the mouse out yet. So the mouse itself is actually pretty light, and of course we have some film on the back end. And let's get that off. Nice little peel there. And we have a nice little soft pad here. Check out those buttons. Not too bad for clickiness. And inside the box, after we take out the mouse, we have the USB cable. So this is Type-C charging to Type-A to your port here. Let's see if we can see that better. So we have Type-C to the mouse itself, and then Type-A to your computer. And here we have some other adapter of some sort with the actual USB to your PC. So this is for your 2.4 gigahertz adapter that's inside. We don't really need this, but whatever. Okay, let's see if we have anything else that's useful in here. We got a couple little pamphlets, and it doesn't look like anything else. Right away when trying this mouse, I found that my hands are a bit small. For a guy, I do have smaller hands. So if you have smaller hands, just know that your hands are not going to be pressing those buttons very well, at least for the grip, unless you happen to go really forward. But if you have small hands, normally on a desk you'd be like this and palming it rather than going like that. However, this is one of those things you may have to get used to find if it's the right mouse for you. So the Shroud actually uses the Logitech G Hub software, and right off the bat I found I have an update for the firmware to improve performance. That's pretty cool. Now I'm going to get that done and see how this performs. However, I found that my hand grip still is kind of an issue. I'll get more on that in a bit. So when it comes to settings, we can change our USB polling rate. We can change it to 125, change it to 250, 500, or 1000. What this means, it does so many samples within a second. So it could either do 125 samples, 250, 500, or 1000 at peak performance. Some mice allow higher than that. However, it starts to take more pull onto the CPU, and generally the gains are really not really worth it. And generally a lower pulling rate is going to give you better battery life. But 1000 is a great place to be for gamers. Now, when it comes to other settings such as DPI, I actually prefer to be around 1600, 2000 or so. But you can go all the way up to 25,600, which is absolutely excessive, where you just tap the mouse and it just flies right to the other end of the screen. And that is just insane. I have it at 1600. Now look at that mouse cursor on the screen. I'm moving very little, but now let's turn this right up to extreme. I'm gonna have a hard time controlling this. Okay. Watch how fast it's moving across the screen. And I'm moving very little. So for actual accuracy, when you're going that fast, it's not going to be a good experience if you're trying to actually shoot something or be accurate in a game at that high of DPI. So a little bit lower is a lot more reasonable. So this mouse is actually quite wide. So it makes for a funny grip because where do you put your pinky? Well, I don't quite have that idea. And on the other side, my thumb tends to be rested right here, just below the button. To change your DPI setting, use this one. You have your middlemost button, your two side cursor buttons, this button here, and another one. So you're forward and back, by the way. You can also change the default settings. And of course, we have USB-C, which is very important. And that's one thing I like to see on a modern mouse. There is no RGB, so note that one. And when it comes to holding this, here's the situation. So either I'm touching the tips of the mouse just like this, or I have my hand right up and I'm pushing the back end up. So I end up tilting it up slightly when using the mouse if I try to grip the whole mouse, and my palm is pushing down on it. So we get a bit of lift, and that's not a good way to actually experience a mouse. So the Logitech G303 Shroud Edition, would I recommend it? Well, it works for editing surprisingly well. I can actually move every one frame at a time, and that's a hard achievement for most computer mice. At 1600 DPI, not a problem. That's quite lovely. It actually matches well compared to my MX Master 3, which is one of the few other mice that can actually work with editing. There are several other ones I tested, and some of them have little drag issues, or they won't go straight when you actually move it straight or whatnot. The buttons itself, they feel kind of mushy to it, and that's something that doesn't make it as comfortable for me. Now, would I run out and buy it and say this is the #1 mouse to get? No, not quite, but it's something you can use for gaming and editing, and that puts it in the top spot. But is it the top spot that you see right here, the Ballast Ultimate, as an option for gaming and video editing? However, the battery life, I believe, on the Shroud Edition is going to be a bit better, so you may prefer that. Or if you have bigger hands, you may prefer the Shroud. Either way, I do find that this mouse actually can work decent for someone with big hands, and it's nice curvature and gives you a place to place your thumb and your fingers comfortably. So this mouse would work better for most people than the Logitech. However, one problem I did have with this is pressing the middle mouse button is just too easy when scrolling. However, there's an adjustability slider here for your actual scroll, because if you have it tight, you'd be clicking on this other particular mouse that I find is a better option. Thanks for watching. This is Eric of Not Bios, and have yourselves a most wonderful day.